Welcome back. I'm here with Jonathan, so I'm not all by myself anymore. How you doing, Jonathan?
Hello.
So we had a scout come through the gauntlet, I'll call it. It was American Georgia sending a Corvette up, having a cheeky look at our side. So of course we took him out. It's a bit of a declaration of war, really, sending a war boat into the heart of someone's what should be very, very safe and defended backwaters. You hit him first,
Yeah.
Jonathan, and then I finished him off.
Yeah, you saw a naval contact earlier in the day, so presumably that was what it was.
Yeah.
I think like the only reason to scout somebody out is if you're planning to invade them anyway, so I'm not really accepting that as an excuse.
And he sent me a message by accident, actually. I've got a couple of messages we can have a look at. So, American Georgia. Oh, they said nothing, but all I said was Palestinian Jim. I didn't mean for this to happen. I was only scouting. City Gamer. I was just scouting. That's what I said. And then he's basically written to me by mistake, and that was meant to be for someone in his coalition, or maybe the other 2 or 3 or 4 that he's working with. So he's a bit of a run around, go between, send a little scout to get information because they probably told him to. So I wouldn't say that American Georgia is our main provocator, but he's certainly a little bit of a run around and go between some of the larger players, which I think now are Louisiana and New York and maybe Illinois. They seem to be pretty good. And they're all on the east coast, southeast coast. I think we should keep it quite loose at this point, Jonathan, because I think we're on the point of war. I don't want to give too much away, but I want to do a good episode as well.
Well, we're still delaying the episode, so I mean, I think we can still talk shop.
Yeah, well, you've taken Chihuahua. I've learnt how to say it.
Yeah, with Tim's help.
So that's good. We're all linked up. And does that mean we've got an airfield in the middle as well in Chihuahua? No, it was destroyed.
No, we've got one in Phoenix.
Yeah, that's too far away. Remember, we've got choppers. Connectivity.
Where are we trying to defend?
True. I guess it would give... Yeah, true. Yeah, we probably don't need one, do we? Oh, your home cities are all the way over here. Okay, it's in a bit of no man's land, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all right. I think Phoenix covers most important areas. Like I'm looking at Louisiana's western border. We've got a couple of airports there, one in Denver and one in Alamosa that we can fall back on.
Yeah, Alamosa's a really nice defensive position. It really is, because it's just surrounded by a river. It's amazing. And Albuquerque, that's a solid defensive position. That's probably one of the quickest ways into your homeland. So we'll certainly make sure to keep that defended.
Yeah, I'm moving quite a few troops there, and I'm also gathering a stack on Colorado Springs to move in if necessary. But yeah, it looks like Tim's got one troop on El Paso. Perhaps he needs to move more there. And apart from that, there's Reynosa. We've also got to watch out for these areas where you can cross the river. There was a couple in Arizona. Doesn't look like there's any on this river though. So yeah, it does come down to just these few choke points.
Yeah, we're looking at defensive choke points and just seeing what happens. I've got some news actually you're not going to be aware of. And actually we can test it. So I've got some messages as well. Okay, that's Szechuan Pepper. Thank you for teaching me about how to do waypoints in your videos. Great. Also, smart move delaying your videos by a couple of days so the so we won't know what you're up to. Yeah, sure. So they've said actually at 7:30, which was actually only a few moments ago. We normally try and start at 7:30 UK time for the recording. That takes a while to upload and so on and edit. They've expanded. They've declared war on Minnesota, Szechuan Pepper, and Ohio. So I've said to Ohio, if you attack Minnesota, I'll leave you alone. because he's only a small country, and I thought maybe it would be good to have the buffer zone. And it would be a good territory for him to expand out into Minnesota. And Minnesota was one of the early provocators, and it means that I don't have to provocate a war, so it doesn't initialize anything. And I don't know, in a way, maybe it puts the cats amongst the pigeons between the different alliances. But equally, it's a good move for Saskatchewan, because he's basically got the option of either attacking me and I'll totally destroy him if he does, or he can attack Minnesota. And I've told him that Minnesota's not a very strong player, because if you look at their home cities, they're very weakly built up, and so I think that's a good option. Now, Minnesota's in an alliance with Illinois, and it was Colorado as well, so it would just leave Illinois on their own, and it might mean that just one country right in the middle of everyone on their own might get swallowed up by the others, by New York, by Ohio, by Louisiana. So I think, Illinois is in trouble there once Minnesota gets cracked into. What do you make of it all?
Yeah, Illinois had a crack at me earlier. I was patrolling some helicopters above some Colorado's troops.
Yeah.
I don't really know where they went, but he sent in some air superiority and shot them down. I've been making some anti-air, but I need to get them all to the right places on the front line to kind of stop that happening. It's always a bad idea to patrol whatever you've got when you're not there. So I did kind of deserve that. But it's going to be difficult to get to Illinois to kind of get some revenge.
Well, I think I might have the revenge there. Because I've certainly wanted to get a bit even with Minnesota, because they were one of the main sort of allies in that 5 alliance defense of Colorado, and so hopefully they'll get taken out. Szechuan Pepper actually has said that I can have South Minnesota, which might work actually, because it gets us kind of further in there, doesn't it? But then it does mean I'd be surrounded, so maybe not. But I can certainly take Sioux City, which is a key point, and maybe even Pierre, unless he goes for that. So we'll see what happens when the dust settles. And look, I mean, Louisiana's expanded hugely, hasn't they? So they've not got much place to go. You weren't on last night, but I wanted to tell you about something that I saw and wondered if you'd seen it as well. There's something going on with Haiti, but also in South Yucatan, at the very end of where Tim is, follow it right to the end, there's a bit of a brown spot on the tail. That's New York. So New York is in collusion with Louisiana, and so there's 2 different alliances there. I think it's New York, Ohio. Is it? Let's have a look. I forget. So
I could definitely see some coalitions changing hands. As far as I see it, the big players aren't really together right now. And Louisiana, he's been very opportunistic, and we can kind of set them against one another. But I think like alliances will just reform. And Louisiana, he's been very quick on the draw to take some of this land in Kansas that Colorado's been taking. Obviously, he's taken half of Texas as well. And as far as I see it, between him and New York, we're going to need to take one of them out fairly soon. So what we're doing is building up a navy, just to try and get naval superiority. We've got destroyers, both of us, and right now I'm working towards getting some of the elite subs.
Oh, that would be nice. Powerful. Yeah, but to defend us, because we'll be really vulnerable against subs. Other boats, I think, will be all right. Oh, that would be very nice. Okay, focus on elite subs for sure. Elite subs are good against pretty much anything, just as long as they can stay in shallow water. Destroyers are also good against killing subs. Ideally, I'd like to get some cruisers as well. Maybe one of us should go for frigates, just in case anybody's gone for something like a
naval whatever they call the naval recon one, the one that kills
Yeah.
boats.
The frigates are always a good idea, even against missiles and stuff. So yeah, I'll definitely be going after frigates, and I've got a feeling that I don't know. It depends how prolific Louisiana is in gold, but that's obviously the gold play, isn't it? To go for missiles, so we're gonna have to definitely have some missile defense against Louisiana.
Yeah, absolutely. Because boats would be a very easy target for missiles as well. But if we could get naval superiority, then a few of the cities are just sitting on the water, so it would give us a massive advantage.
Yeah, it's going to take us a while to build up the navy and move it along. So yeah, maybe a bit longer than 3 days, I think. So it's going to be plenty of time.
Yeah, well, we need to pick the right time and then just work forward to closing off the Panama Canal. For all we know, they might already have ships hidden in our side of the map, so we'll need to do a sweep and kind of check everywhere, including this corner right down here, just to make sure there's nothing waiting for us. But what's important now is that we've got a lot of naval cover to stop ships and troops coming into our city, and I suspect if American Georgia had kind of scouted out that there was nothing up here, then we would have, an army would have followed. So for all we know, there could be an army just hanging around here somewhere.
Looks like okay, so it's Cuba invading Haiti. That's interesting. And where's Florida gone? Oh, Florida have been destroyed by pretty much Louisiana.
By Louisiana
and Cuba. Oh, I just noticed that. Wow. Oh, Jesus. So Louisiana's really going for it. That's incredible.
Yeah, he's really starting to pull ahead. New York's only got 19 cities. Yeah, we between us, we've got more than anyone else. But yeah, he's there on 33 cities.
Oof.
He's starting to become a real threat.
Wow, we'll have to... I'm just trying to bring up the diplomacy tab. Oh, wow. So, look how many cities you've got. Ouch. Yeah, a gold player with a lot of cities. That's tricky. Oh, my goodness me. Okay. Interesting. But if we try and go against him, he's just... I don't even know what that battle looks like. He's just wiped everyone out very easily, it seems. And we've battled against him already, haven't we? And he's gold healed, gold built, and we've seen some pretty big armies, the size of armies, haven't we?
Yeah, I think we need to come up with a plan to take him down. I think Tim needs to be involved. He's probably still licking his wounds after being invaded before, so we need to sort out a plan of action pretty soon.
Yeah. This is a tricky game. We're going to have to defend our entire side and think about going to war with some people. Thing is, you look at... I think it'll end up being the biggest players joining together, I think, because I think Louisiana will just expand into the weaker players regardless of what coalition they're in. Yeah, look, Haiti and Florida are the ones left in the coalition, and they're pretty much dead. So they're picked on a weak coalition, and then they'll just be picking on the next ones. It'll probably be Minnesota and Illinois, actually. I'd imagine Louisiana will be going for Illinois next. So that's that coalition gone. It's just going to leave 3 coalitions. Us, New York, and their coalition. Oh, I keep going into the wrong tab. I'm trying to keep up with who's in what coalition.
It's kind of difficult, isn't it? Who's in New York's coalition?
Ontario and Saskatchewan. I think New York will join Louisiana, and the other 2 will be sacked off. Ontario and Saskatchewan. Yeah. See, Saskatchewan has just started and is still building up, and Ontario doesn't look like they've really expanded much. They have a little bit out here next to New York, which will be an easy target to start with.
Mm. Yeah, it's going to be quite difficult to get to New York and Ontario. Ideally, we want them to be cracking in to the other coalition. The way I see it, like your northern border looks quite vulnerable. Szechuan
Yeah.
could invade through Alberta. Have you got some kind of airports there that we could use to defend?
Yeah, I'm building some secret airports, and I've taken that into account. So I've got a way of getting back quite quickly with some pretty serious stuff. Also, I'm building up a bank of helicopters and air support tanks. I'll be able to get into that place very quickly indeed. So, yeah. And I was wondering how far north to go, but ultimately, the further north they go, the more south they've got to come down. And so, yeah, I'm picking some strategic points where, like choke points, really, where we can get people.
Yeah.
So we don't need to get them
think...
when they enter into that land before the mountains, like near them, Alberta. Don't need to necessarily defend that. That's quite quick moving land. It's once they get snagged up in the mountains, that's when they'll get hit by force that's unimaginable. With fire and fury the world has never seen. So yeah, I'd like to see them try that, but equally we've got a little bit of a peace deal. We'll see how long that lasts. Yeah, but I'll hold it up as long as they do. But be ready. I will be ready if they don't. And then we've got this odd piece of New York and Louisiana. It's an interesting one. Tim's rebuilding. He's got some pretty strong units and quite an incredible air force, hasn't he? And so have I. I've got a really nice air force now.
Yeah. Mine keeps getting shot down. So I'm just going to give up on it and specialize elsewhere. Definitely get some anti-air and some boats. I've kind of struggled, taking a lot of land, but it's not been ideal. What boats are you going to build?
Well, Jonathan.
Yep.
That is the question. See, I want to be really cagey, and you want to just throw it all out there.
Well, but, we're putting a delay on for the reason, like.
Yeah, but
if we're just kind of not saying anything, then it's fine. Like we just discuss it after the episode if you want.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what I'm building. I've got a destroyer, and I've got about 4,000 components, 1,500 supplies. So I'm just trying to play a balancing game between building tanks, which I've got a few now that I've spread out. See, one over there, and I think there's one on its way over here or somewhere. I'll get an anti-air out there. We've got anti-air in each of the quadrants. There's a tank, and I'm just building up a stack of helicopters. So here's a helicopter. Here's a helicopter. I'm going to move them around, though. I'm building an airbase somewhere else. I'm just going to keep moving the helicopters around because, like you say, they're so vulnerable. And then I think I'm going to move this stack. I've got combat recon, infantry, then just starting to build up the armoured fighting vehicles. Going to move that probably somewhere south. I'm going to trust the deal with Saskatchewan and just leave that northern bit a bit more open, but I still have some pretty fast defence to run in. We'll see how that goes. And then we're building up a bit of a force in the middle here, aren't we? We'll give them a quick look, but it's a big old stack of helicopters, air superiority as well to give them a bit of protection. And then Tim's got some really nasty stuff down here. He's built some rockets, hasn't he, now?
Yeah, those will be key in later battles. I think we should all try and get those.
I can probably show you my city list. Yeah, why not? So I'm building armoured fighting vehicle and a SAM. I wanted to build 2 armoured fighting vehicles at once, but I didn't quite have enough components at the time for what I wanted. So I did the SAM because it's more supplies that it takes. Building a naval base level 4, which will be ready soon in 2 hours 10 minutes. And I've got 3 level 5 arms industries being built on the rare material city and my 2 supply cities, and then I'm just going to focus on I'm building up the components, because of course the maximum level arms industry is 5. But I thought as well, on the rare material city, I'll start to build bunker level 2. I've never had a bunker level 2 on a home city before, have you?
Yeah, it's good when you can get the bunkers level 2 or 3. On another game I'm on, I ended up being at war with about 13 different countries, and
Cool.
Each of my cities had a bunker level 2, and the morale hasn't dropped below 75%.
Very nice.
So it's definitely worth it.
And of course, the higher the morale in your home cities, the higher your resource production, and that's just so important, because it's a balancing game, isn't it? The more you can afford to buy, the more you can
definitely. If you're intending to go to war with lots of people, it's better to stick in bunkers, and like we like to play it kind of aggressively. So building bunkers early on is always a good deal for us. And I'd say it's just as important as arms industries. So I've got a level 1 bunker in all of my cities now, and I need to start upgrading that to level 2 as soon as possible, really.
See, New York is sort of mid-range there with arms industries. Got arms industry level 1s and starting to build out 2s. Not being hyper aggressive. You look at Louisiana as the contrast, and they've got arms industry level 3s, level 4, level 3, level 4, army base level 3. So Louisiana's playing a very solid game. Very solid indeed.
Oh yeah, he has got a level 3 airbase, so he could well have some of the naval recon planes. So
Okay.
I'm thinking, yeah, we need to consider that.
Okay. Yeah, so what can you get level 3 air? Are you saying naval strike fighter?
No, the naval patrol aircraft.
Naval.
It's on the heavies, the first one up there.
Oh.
Quite slow. It only goes 7.5.
Oh, okay.
But it does a lot of damage to ships. But I've found if they face off against frigates, then they go about even. Cruisers, I'm not so sure about, but we could do with one or the other.
Yeah, I definitely want to bash out a few frigates. That's going to be quite important. And a mix of frigates and destroyers is a very nice thing to have indeed. As long as you've got a few subs as well. And, I don't know, a bit of everything, isn't it? But if you just go light on everything, and someone else goes heavy on one thing, they can punch through sometimes. So it's always a bit of a gamble, really, on what you build, just hoping that the other person's not going to counter you too much.
Yeah, but there are a few like key combinations that tend to work.
And have a look at Illinois' home cities now. So we've looked at New York, and it's actually a bit low, actually, New York. Yeah, Illinois is doing a fair job. Ooh, Army base level 4. Got an arms industry level 3 and level 2, level 1 on the petrol, level 3 on the cogs, level 3 on electronics. Yeah, so they're building a good game. Level 2 on supplies. Got a recruiting office on every city.
I'm surprised Michigan is still in the game with his 3 cities.
Michigan.
There's still a few smaller players that have yet to be cleaned up.
Might have just talked his way out of annihilation, but yeah, that's obviously going to get destroyed very quickly.
Yeah.
We've got Ontario has a shot, and Minnesota. And in fact, I think it's going to be Ontario that wins out there in the expansion, because they're planning on attacking Minnesota, and I haven't seen any sign of it yet. They've said they've declared war, and I would expect them to be hitting them. Interestingly, Ontario had a plane that was scouting. See where I've got Wolf Point nearest Szechuan Pepper, and there's that point, the river that goes to the right of Wolf Point. There's a trick you can do where, like if you click on someone's territory to go and scout it, it'll declare war, like with an air superiority. But if you click on a river, it's neutral territory, and so you can scout someone's territory by,
really
clicking on their rivers. And, and that's a classic one I use. And I was interested to see that he did the same, because I saw him scouting me, and I thought, hang on, isn't he at war with me then if he's scouting me? But he wasn't, because I checked. So, yeah, he's learned the good stuff. Luckily, I had nothing there as well, because I'd moved my big stack away. So that might have spooked them into not, attacking Minnesota. Not that I intend to attack them. Just want that defensive stack there. So we need to focus on Louisiana, really, or Illinois. So we're going to see. So yeah, it's funny the little things you see. We've been scouted by Ontario. We've been scouted by American Georgia.
Yeah. He also sent a UAV over.
Did he?
Near Albuquerque. Yeah, which I shot down. So he's just definitely trying to suss us out, probably on the behalf of Louisiana.
Yeah.
So Louisiana probably has designs to invade us soon. So we just really need to start preparing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, he's not got a lot elsewhere to go unless he cracks into Illinois. It depends which way he's going to turn. He's going to turn backwards and expand more and build up his army before he cracks into us. Or is he going to crack into us? That's the question.
All right, I think I've got a plan, but we need to get Tim on the line to discuss it.
Yeah, I think I've got a plan too. Okay, we can do a bit of what's up then. And on that note, any last thoughts?
No, not from me.
Okay, well, it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
Over and out.